Hey, Colin here, aka the Mindset Guy, with today's video, which is number 3 in this How to Release Negative Emotions sort of video series. And in this one, I really want to get into some tools and techniques to release negative emotions. But let's start by first looking at why do these emotions arise when we start setting some new intentions? Because that's what we're saying, you know. When we start setting reality Y, as we've called it in here, a new aspiration or a new goal or a new intention, what can happen is some unresourceful or ugly or negative emotions sort of bubble up. And if we don't deal with those emotions in the right way, then they literally can stop us from going for this new reality Y, or they slow down the whole process. So now why does it happen? Well, basically the subconscious mind, the part that drives the believing and feeling, is affected by perceptions. So it's the perception of something that creates the feeling. So as we start to shape a new perception, the perception of reality Y, then it creates some emotions. And what sort of emotions am I talking about? Well, let's see if you recognize any of these when you've set a goal for yourself or an aspiration. Fear, doubt, and anxiety. Right? Fears can come in. Fear of being a failure, for instance. And I've talked about this in other videos. You know, so the brain starts playing, the mind starts playing the what if questions. What if you screw up? What if you get it wrong? What if you look an idiot? Right? And as a result of that, and not dealing with that correctly, obviously it can stop us in our tracks, because no one likes to experience failure. Even though it's not real, it's still perceived failure. Or anger and frustration because the new reality Y, isn't happening as quickly as we want it to. You know, it seems to be taking a long time. We become impatient, we become irritated, and a little bit frustrated, and a little bit angry. And that can also cause some blame. We start finger pointing and blaming this and blaming that, or even at worst, blaming ourselves and beating ourselves up and berating ourselves, almost like self-abuse, and causing ourselves to have low self-esteem and low self-worth. And then there's sadness, or at worst depression, that comes from grief, because we're letting go, we're having to let go of whatever reality X is about. And there's certain things we might have to let go of. We might have to let go of certain people that are in reality X, because they are reality X type individuals. They're not reality Y. I've talked about this before. You know, if your goal is to change your weight and shape, but you're hanging around people that are out of shape, overweight, well, there's a reason for that. And you want to change, you want to become this, and they can reject you or make you feel bad because you've got a new goal, for instance. So letting go of things can cause grief. It can sadness around the fact, even though we don't like this, even though we don't want this anymore, we can still get that feeling. So there's just some of the feelings that we may get. That the point is that as these feelings come up, that if we don't deal with them, they can literally stop us in our tracks, or as I say, slow down the process. Now, how do we typically deal with emotions? Because we are emotive, but we're not very good at dealing with emotions. So let's look at a few ways that we typically go about dealing with emotions. The first one is to suppress. And there's that lovely saying, what we resist persists. If we push an emotion down and we resist it, we suppress it, it doesn't go. You know, it's like a fingerprint. It leaves a fingerprint, and it is going to come back, and it's going to come out in uglier ways at a certain point. Second one is we just express. You know, like anger, we just express anger. We're not looking at where's the anger coming from. And of course, anger expressed in a negative way tends to create negative results or negative consequences. I'm not saying anger's bad, it has its space and place. But to get angry with someone that we love dearly, when it's really not their fault, typically won't serve us. Another thing that we do is we escape. So typically what happens is that the subconscious mind, which is interesting because it's the subconscious mind that's causing the feeling, ultimately wants to run away from anything that's painful. So what it does, rather than actually experiencing it, it wants to run, it wants to escape. So how do we escape? Well, this is what I like to call catch-up behaviours, and this come from my son Sonny once when he had his dinner in front of him, and he just poured a load of ketchup all over a certain part of it. And everyone looked away. What are you doing? And he said, well, it takes the horrible taste away, doesn't it? And it's like, oh, that's so good. So what are the catch-up behaviours? Well, it could be spending money that we don't have. It could be gambling. It could be taking drugs. It could be spending long hours in the office, workaholic as such. So any aholic typically is an escape type behaviour, whatever it is. So we escape. And of course, the emotion doesn't go away. It's still there. So the last thing to do is to really release it, is to discharge the emotion. Now, when you plant a seed, and we're planting new seeds, if you remember with my analogy that I used last time with the little ink dropper, we're planting a new seed of a new reality. But you just imagine planting a new seed. Now, as that seed begins to grow, what comes up first? See, it's not the seed, it's dirt. The seed pushes the dirt out the way. And so when we set a new goal and we start to seed, and this is reality Y, then typically these uncomfortable or unresourceful or negative emotions come up. And the best way to deal with them is to release them. And so I like to, I've learned a lot from my kids, but if you watch the way children release emotions, because they don't hold on to them. They can be happy, then they can be upset, and then they're happy again. And it's like the upset is gone, and it goes as quickly as it comes. They clean up their emotional mess as quickly as they make it. Now, how do they do that? Well, there's a couple of things if you observe. Number one, focus. They're totally present in the moment. They don't try and escape the moment. They don't know how to do that, by the way, because they don't understand this thing called time. So they're totally focused in the moment. They're totally accepting of the emotion that they're in, and they experience it fully. And then what they do is they release it, ready for the next moment, the next reality, so to speak. So I want to give you 3 techniques that you can use to release negative emotions. Now the first technique is, I like to call it the rubber band, right? Rubber band release. So I've got a rubber band round here. And each of these, by the way, are deceptively simple, and they can be sort of poo-pooed pretty quickly, but I invite you to try them. So what you do with the rubber band release is, it's what I call focus, feel, release. So when you are experiencing worry, concern, doubt, fear, anger, resentment, then what I recommend you do is you just get yourself a rubber band. And what I like about the rubber band is you've always got it on you. This is a bit tight, this one. But you want one that obviously fits you. You've always got it on you. So it's a reminder of time to release, time to release. You take it off. So what do you do first? You focus, you bring yourself into the moment, like the child does, fully in the moment. No need to distract, no need to run away, no need to escape, no need to suppress. You come totally in the moment. And then you experience the emotion fully. You get into it, you be absorbed by it, and allow it to, consume you, so to speak. But what you do then is you use the physical band and you pull it apart like so, and you use this tension. I mean, it's quite a lot of tension there in my fingers. As you're experiencing the emotion, feeling it fully, focus, feel. So now you're feeling it fully. And then what you do using the power of breath is you release through the breath, and you also release the tension in the band. And you may even affirm, I release anger now, or I release frustration now, or I release irritation now, or I release anxiety now. Whatever it is that you're feeling, then you release it, all right? So literally it would be, and you'll feel your whole body just relax, and the tension go out. Then you put it back on, and done. Now you may need to do it a couple of times, you may need to do it a few more than a couple of times. But trust me, try it, see. Now if you can't, obviously you're out and about and there's people around, you can't take the rubber band off and do that. It doesn't matter, you can imagine that's what you're doing. You can get it still. It's still about focus, feel, and then release. Second one is, I think I got this from Bob Proctor actually, famous for The Secret. But basically what you do is you have 2 pieces of paper, And in the first piece of paper, you write down all of the feelings that you've got right now, where you're feeling them, what's causing them, but you just get it down on paper. You get the emotion out and down on paper. That's on one piece of paper. On the second piece of paper, you write down reality Y, all the emotions that are associated with reality Y. So you write that down. And then what you do is you take the first piece of paper, take it somewhere safe, and you light it with a match or a lighter, and you just watch it burn. And I know once again it seems really, really simple, but it's amazingly powerful by burning it and watching it go up. And then what you do is you take the positive and you fold that and you put it in your pocket. And you keep it, or in your bag, or in your purse, or somewhere. You keep it with you so that you can open it and think about that. And once again, you may need to do it a few times, but it works. I mean, it's so simple, but it works because what we're doing is we are putting our attention on it, and then we're releasing it rather than suppressing it or escaping from it. Some of the other techniques that I've used. Now, the third one is, once again, one of my tools from the Mind Power Plus toolkit. I say every tool that I've created is for a reason, and this one is called the dissolver. So once again, like in the Intention Manifesto, it has two key components to it. It has brainwave entrainment, which uses isochronic tones, but the difference this time is they take you another level down. So rather than moving you down into alpha, it takes you deeper into theta. And theta is the deeper parts of the subconscious mind. It's where our memories are housed. And so by going that little bit deeper, we're able to access the deeper parts of the subconscious. And what it does is that the process that I take you through, the second part, which is psychopsychology, where I take you on a guided visualization, I take you through a process, a release process, where you literally let go of all the ickiness, all of the feelings, whatever that is that you're holding in your body. And the great thing about this is it can work on a number of levels. You can be releasing stuff you don't even know that you are releasing. And when you release the energy, of course, when you release the negative energy, you have a space for all the positive energy that you need to direct towards reality Y. And the other benefit is it will leave you feeling more confident, which is also important in going for reality Y. So once again, if you're interested in the dissolver, and this is the most popular MP3 that I've created, I get more feedback on this one than any others, then check the link out below, click on it, go and have a look. I put a video there where I explain each of the MP3s and how they work and stories. And if it looks good to you, then give it a go. Sign up and give it a go. So there we are. That is part 3 of this How to Release Negative Emotions. I'm Colin Hiles, aka The Mindset Guy. Leave me some feedback. 1 didn't enjoy it, 10 really enjoyed it, and leave me a comment. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.